You aren't genetically cursed. You've been biochemically hijacked by a silent parasite. Dare to starve this tyrant for exactly 14 days, and a terrifying, agonizing neurological rebellion will miraculously unlock a dormant, life-altering superpower hiding deep inside your very own. Imagine sitting in the quiet isolation of your workspace, the clock mercilessly striking 3 p.m. Suddenly, an invisible, suffocating weight descends upon your mind. Your vision blurs, your focus shatters into dust, and a feral, screaming voice inside your head demands carbohydrates. A pastry, a sweetened latte, anything to survive the afternoon. You cave. You eat it. You feel a fleeting, hollow surge of artificial life, only to crash into an even deeper, darker exhaustion an hour later. You stare at your reflection, tracing the stubborn layer of fat clinging to your midsection, and a quiet, agonizing whisper echoes in your mind telling you that you are weak, that you simply lack willpower, and that your body is irreversibly failing you. Stop right there. What if I told you that every ounce of that paralyzing guilt is built on a magnificent, carefully orchestrated lie? What if the chronic exhaustion draining the color from your days is not a moral failing, but the result of a perfectly engineered physiological trap? Before we pull back the curtain on this breathtaking medical illusion, Healthy Age in Canada warmly welcomes you. If you are deeply weary of the endless cycle of fatigue and ready to reclaim the sovereign control of your own biology, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Your support is the absolute heartbeat that empowers us to continue unearthing these vital truths for you. For years, I was a silent prisoner in that exact same agonizing cycle, locked inside a failing metabolism while doing everything I was told was right. I was a devout, unquestioning disciple of the conventional dietary gospel. I meticulously weighed my portions, forced down the dry, skinless chicken breasts, and dutifully consumed my 6 small, whole-grain meals a day, blindly believing the promise that I was stoking my metabolic fire. Instead, I was slowly burning my own house down. I was perpetually drained, my mood swung with terrifying volatility, and the visceral fat remained anchored to my belly like a cruel joke, mocking my hours of exhausted suffering on the treadmill. I genuinely believed my genetics were cursed, but I was looking at the deterioration of my body completely backwards. Think of your intricate, beautiful biology as a pristine, complex fish tank. When the vibrant fish inside begin to gasp for air, growing sluggish, diseased, and heavy, what is the very first thing you do? Do you rip the dying fish from the water, strap them to a tiny operating table, and inject them with synthetic pharmaceuticals to force them to swim faster? The very thought is sheer madness. You look at the environment. You test the murky water. Yet, for decades, the medical establishment has convinced us that our expanding waistlines, our brain fog, and our metabolic diseases are inherent flaws within the fish. We have been desperately drugging the fish while completely ignoring the toxic, poisoned water we are drowning in. The modern food industry has fundamentally corrupted the water in our tank, flooding it with the sugar tyrant, a ruthless infiltration of hidden sugars and refined carbohydrates that entirely dictate your hunger, manipulate your neurochemistry, and paralyze your body's ability to burn its own fat. You are not weak. You have been biochemically hijacked. I am inviting you to step out of the dark. Let us become biomedical detectives together. We are going to put decades of nutritional dogma on trial and meticulously trace exactly what happens inside the microscopic machinery of your cells if you dare to sever ties with the sugar tyrant for exactly 14 days. This is not a fleeting dietary gimmick. It is an excavation of truth, a profound journey to purify the water in your tank and awaken the miraculous biological machine you were born to be. To truly purify the water in our tank, we must first understand that the parasite we are evicting will not leave our system quietly. The moment you decide to sever the supply line of refined carbohydrates and hidden sweeteners, you are initiating a profound neurological and physiological rebellion within your own body. I remember my first 48 hours with agonizing clarity. It felt as though an angry, desperate tenant was violently trashing the apartment of my mind before an eviction. This is the phase where the sugar tyrant fights back, weaponizing your own neurochemistry against you to force a surrender. When you stop consuming sugar, you are not merely changing a dietary preference. You are withdrawing from a highly engineered, addictive substance that has hijacked the reward centers of your brain. For years, Every time you consumed that afternoon pastry or sweetened beverage, your brain released a massive, unnatural flood of dopamine, the exact same neurotransmitter involved in gambling and narcotic addiction. Your brain became conditioned to expect this daily artificial high to feel a sense of baseline normalcy. When you abruptly cut the cord, dopamine levels plummet, leaving behind a stark, emotional void. You may feel profoundly irritable, inexplicably anxious, or engulfed by a heavy, gray cloud of mild depression. Your brain, accustomed to the easy, fast-burning fuel of glucose, sends out emergency flares disguised as intense, almost painful cravings. You will walk through the grocery store aisles, and the colorful packaging will seem to call out to you, a psychological siren song begging you to abandon this foolish detective work and return to the comforting numbness of the familiar. Simultaneously, your physical body enters a state of panicked transition. For decades, your liver and muscles have been operating under the assumption that a fresh delivery of external sugar is always just a few hours away. Because of this constant influx, the complex metabolic machinery required to burn your stored body fat has literally rusted from disuse. During these first 2 to 3 days, your blood sugar begins to drop to a normal, healthy baseline, but your cells do not yet remember how to access the alternative fuel of your stored fat. You are caught in an agonizing metabolic purgatory. This is where the infamous withdrawal symptoms manifest: the pounding headaches, the muscle aches, the sudden waves of dizzying fatigue. The medical community often refers to this as the keto flu, but I want you to view it through the lens of our investigation. This is not a sickness. This is the profound, messy, and heroic work of detoxification. This physical discomfort is the absolute proof that the illusion is breaking. It is the sensation of the toxic water finally being drained from your tank. The exhaustion you feel is your body desperately searching for fuel, scraping the very bottom of its sugar reserves, and realizing that the era of the sugar tyrant has definitively come to an end. Many turn back at this exact threshold, convinced their body needs the sugar to survive. But if you can just hold the line, an extraordinary biological pivot is waiting for you in the shadows. Yet, just as the darkness of withdrawal threatens to break your resolve, a miraculous, hidden survival mechanism awakens deep within your biology. By the 4th or 5th day, a profound silence falls over the internal battlefield. The relentless screaming for carbohydrates begins to fade into a dull whisper, eventually disappearing altogether. This is the exact moment your body executes the metabolic pivot. To understand the sheer brilliance of this shift, we must look at the hormone insulin, which has been acting as a cruel, uncompromising warden over your biology. Every time you ate sugar or refined carbohydrates, your pancreas pumped out insulin to ferry that toxic excess out of your bloodstream. But insulin has a secondary, sinister role. It is the master storage hormone. As long as insulin levels are high, the biochemical doors to your fat cells are locked shut, completely inaccessible. You could run on a treadmill until your lungs burned, but with high insulin, your body would rather tear down your own precious muscle tissue for energy than allow you to burn a single ounce of stored fat. But now, after several days of starving the sugar tyrant, your insulin levels finally collapse to a quiet, natural baseline. The warden drops the keys. With insulin out of the way, your liver realizes that the external sugar supply is genuinely gone. It turns its attention to the vast, untapped energy vaults attached to your waistline, your thighs, and surrounding your vital organs. Your liver begins to break down this trapped fat, converting it into magnificent, highly efficient energy molecules called ketones. The rusted machinery hums back to life. I will never forget the morning this happened to me. I woke up before my alarm, my eyes snapped open, and the heavy, invisible lead blanket that had suffocated me for years was simply gone. This is the transition from burning, kindling to burning massive, dense hardwood logs. Sugar is kindling. It burns hot, bright, and fast, forcing you to constantly throw more on the fire just to keep the cold at bay, leading to the endless cycle of eating every 3 hours. Ketones and your stored fat are the hardwood logs. Once they are lit, they provide a steady, unyielding, smoldering heat that lasts for hours, if not days. The erratic swings of your blood sugar stabilize into a beautiful, flat line. For the first time in your adult life, You are no longer a slave to the clock, terrified of when your next meal will be. You have tapped into an internal power grid that is entirely self-sufficient, and the sheer liberation of realizing you possess this dormant superpower is nothing short of deeply emotional. Your body is no longer failing you. It is finally doing exactly what it was brilliantly designed to do. Once those heavy metabolic vaults are finally thrown open, the once poisoned water of your internal fish tank begins to run startlingly clear. As we cross into the second week of our 14-day excavation, the physical transformations transcend mere weight loss. We enter the realm of profound cellular repair. When you remove the constant inflammatory assault of sugar, your body redirects the massive amounts of energy it used to spend managing toxic blood glucose into healing tissues that have been quietly degrading for years. The most immediate and shocking revelation occurs within the brain. The human brain, despite making up only a tiny fraction of our body weight, is an absolute energy glutton. When it is fueled by the erratic spikes and crashes of sugar, we experience the chronic brain fog, the inability to recall names, and the afternoon lethargy we have sadly normalized. But ketones are a preferred, ultra-premium fuel for your neural tissue. They cross the blood-brain barrier with ease, providing a clean, oxidatively stable source of power. My own thoughts, once wading through thick mud, suddenly became razor-sharp. The anxious static in my mind dissolved into a deep, focused calm. You will find yourself engaging in conversations with a newfound presence, reading without losing your place, and experiencing a stable, uplifting mood that does not depend on a heavily sweetened morning coffee. Simultaneously, a miraculous biological housekeeping process called autophagy is triggered. Without the constant influx of nutrients telling your cells to continually build and store, your body enters a state of deep preservation and recycling. Your cells begin to scour their own internal environments, hunting down damaged proteins, senescent zombie cells, and accumulated cellular debris, breaking them down and recycling them for parts. It is literally an anti-aging mechanism programmed into your DNA. You will see this reflected in the mirror. The chronic, low-grade inflammation that caused your face to look perpetually puffy begins to vanish. The aching in your joints, which you likely attributed to getting older, silently evaporates. And then, there is the visceral fat. This is not the soft fat directly beneath your skin. This is the hard, dangerous, hormonally active fat packed tightly around your liver, your pancreas, and your intestines. The exact fat that drives chronic disease. Because your insulin is now low, your body aggressively targets this specific, dangerous fat for fuel. Your clothes will begin to drape differently. Your midsection will soften and shrink, and the physical heaviness that weighed down your every step will lift. You will begin to experience the forgotten sensation of true biological hunger. A quiet, polite tap on the shoulder from your stomach, rather than a desperate, screaming emergency that dictates your behavior. You are no longer merely surviving. Your biology is actively regenerating. Standing on the victorious side of this 14-day excavation, you will realize that you have not simply completed a temporary diet, but orchestrated a profound physiological jailbreak. The most beautiful revelation waiting for you at the end of this timeline is not just a smaller number on a scale, but the triumphant return of your own autonomy. You have stared directly into the meticulously crafted illusion of the modern food industry, refused its toxic terms, and successfully starved the sugar tyrant out of existence. This journey is deeply personal to me because I know the exact flavor of the despair you felt at 3 p.m. I know the quiet shame of feeling like a prisoner in your own skin. But look at what you uncover when you dare to question the narrative. You discover that your body was never broken, weak, or genetically doomed. It was simply responding perfectly to a completely toxic environment. By doing the work to purify the water in your tank, you have allowed the magnificent biology within you to heal itself. You have proven that the exhaustion, the cravings, and the stubborn fat were merely symptoms of a chemical hijacking, not reflections of your character or willpower. Moving forward, this does not mean you must live a life of rigid, joyless deprivation forever. True metabolic flexibility, the ultimate goal of our work here at Healthy Aging Canada, means your engine is now robust enough to occasionally handle a carbohydrate without instantly derailing your entire system. The difference is that now, you are the sovereign ruler of your biology. If you choose to enjoy a piece of cake at a loved one's wedding, it is a conscious, autonomous choice, not a desperate compulsion driven by a screaming parasite in your neurochemistry. You will eat it, your body will process it, and you will seamlessly shift back into burning fat the very next day, without the devastating withdrawal or the crippling guilt. You have reclaimed the right to age with vibrant, unapologetic vitality. You have reclaimed your cognitive clarity, your emotional stability, and your physical freedom. As we conclude this chapter of our investigation, I urge you to hold on to this profound feeling of clarity. Let the memory of the murky, poisoned water serve as a reminder of what you have escaped. The medical establishment may continue to treat the dying fish, but you and I now know the ultimate truth lies in the environment. You have cleaned the tank. You have awakened the machine. Welcome to your new, sovereign reality. The journey to reclaiming your health from the grip of the sugar tyrant is nothing short of a profound biological revolution. Over a brief 14-day window, you transition from a state of neurochemical withdrawal and metabolic panic into an era of vibrant, self-sustaining energy. By bravely enduring the initial dopamine crash and the uncomfortable detoxification process, you force a crucial metabolic pivot. As insulin levels drop to their natural baseline, the locked vaults of stored fat are finally opened, shifting your body from burning fast-depleting kindling to steady, long-lasting hardwood logs in the form of ketones. This internal shift triggers an incredible cellular awakening. Your brain clears of its chronic fog, low-grade inflammation vanishes, and the remarkable anti-aging process of autophagy cleanses your tissues from the inside out. Ultimately, this excavation is not merely about shedding weight, it is about absolute biological sovereignty. You transform from a hostage of the modern food industry's engineered neurohijacking into the autonomous ruler of your own physiology. You realize your body was never broken. It was simply reacting to a poisoned environment. By purifying the waters of your internal system, you unlock genuine metabolic flexibility, allowing you to live and age with unapologetic vitality, completely free from the endless cycle of cravings and chronic fatigue. Your body is not flawed, weak, or lacking in willpower. It is a miraculously adaptive machine that has simply been forced to survive in a highly toxic environment. The chronic fatigue, stubborn weight, and relentless cravings you experience are not personal failures. They are the exact symptoms of a chemical hijacking by engineered, hyper-palatable foods. True healing and longevity do not come from starving or punishing the body, but from bravely changing the environment it operates within. Start by reframing your relationship with withdrawal. When you decide to cut out refined sugars and hidden sweeteners, treat the first 3 to 5 days as a necessary, temporary detoxification rather than a permanent state of suffering. Anticipate the keto flu and recognize the headaches and fatigue as undeniable proof that the toxic water is draining from your tank. Support this transition by fueling your body with high-quality proteins and healthy fats, signaling to your liver that it is safe to begin producing ketones. Once you break the dependency and achieve metabolic flexibility, practice conscious consumption. Build a daily baseline of whole, unrefined foods so that when you occasionally choose to enjoy a favorite treat, it is a joyful, autonomous decision rather than a compulsive physical necessity. What has been the hardest part for you when trying to cut back on sugar, or what is your favorite healthy alternative when a craving hits? Please politely share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below so we can all learn and draw inspiration from one another's journeys. If you found value in this deep dive, please subscribe to the channel. Your support is the ultimate fuel that motivates us to keep researching and creating impactful, life-changing content for you.